Good afternoon, friends. I'm actually taking this time out to share, which may be pretty, significant, topic for a lot of people. The pandemic, which has been affecting nearly every nation in the world, has have had already some devastating effects on careers of a lot of people. Um, if you typically open up any newspapers, there has been nothing but reports about job loss, whether it's in India, US, worldwide. No country has been spared on this. If you really look into the situation right now, unless one is prepared, it might just hit everyone as soon as the lockdown is opened up in India. So I thought that it's important that, like any situation, it's important to have background understanding of the whole situation, and take necessary precautions to enable to come out of this in a positive manner. So if you really look into what has actually happened, the entire pandemic has hit across many industries. But if you really look at this heat map, uh, the degree of impact has been different in different kind of segments. So the ones which is in red are the ones which are highly affected. So if you really typically look at some of these sectors, typically we know about aviation, tourism, non-food or non-essential retail, shipping. These are some of the well-known ones. But if you also look into some other segments like apparel, automobiles, consumer durables, they all have been affected. And that way, accordingly, some of the other industries which have had, I would say, a positive impact. Like every coin has got two faces. Within this situation has also created opportunities for certain industries, which are coming out of this in a definitely positive manner. Things like ITS, online education, pharmaceuticals. Most of these industries have positively impacted by this industry, by this epidemic. So this is also a survey which was done in Bradstreet. So by and far, large kind of segments are going to be really impacted. The green ones are talking about the recovery period, happening immediately. But most of the industries, if you really look, are getting affected for anything between 2 to 6 months, and majority of them are going to get impacted very severely, and recovery is going to take long time. So if you try to summarize this, from a global perspective, nearly 200 million jobs are already affected and more likely to happen. That's huge. Right? Sectors like hospitality, tourism, aviation are almost facing existential threat. Global economy, as predicted by many of the pundits, is is expected to shrink to something like -6 to -8% at the end of this financial year. This is on the backdrop of growth which was there to the tune of about 2-3% last year. I think without exception, almost every sector is getting affected for 6 months, and many sectors that what we saw are going to take at least 2 to 3 years to stabilize. Even if there is some stabilization, most of the prediction are saying that there's going to be a new normal, which is all about people and businesses operating within social distancing and ensuring that there is minimum amount of contacts between different stakeholders of the business. And this has led to several kind of new models being taken up, but that's perhaps for a different talk. Here I'm going to basically talk more on impact individually. Uh, Coming closer home, if you really took, there's estimates saying that something like 20 million jobs are getting affected. That's a lot of. It's also predicted that close to about 70%, 70 million of the MSMEs, almost 30% of them are going to get wiped out. MSMEs are essentially contributing about 95% of all jobs in India. That's going to be severely impacted. India is expected to have flat growth, or maybe very single digit kind of growth, or maybe fraction kind of a stuff. No one still knows about it. Already about 10 lakh crores of GDP has been wiped out. And as I was saying, some major changes in business models are being expected. So this does not help, the salaried class. Most of the salaried class today are still living from paycheck to paycheck. And when this kind of a situation is there, when there are large scale effects, jobs are getting affected, even in terms of job loss or in terms of salary cut, whatever, it is something really very, very difficult times. So how do we cope with this situation? That's the million-dollar question. Like every situation, there brings an opportunity, and it's important for us to be able to realize those and take advantage of that. And that's what I'm going to basically touch base upon now. So some simple guidelines for the salaried class. I think it's without saying that please start reducing your expenses and lifestyle costs. Spend money in the bare minimum necessity things that you can. Try to ensure that unnecessary expenses are avoided. This is a time to get reskilled, especially if you have in the in operations or in customer management, customer facing kind of roles, or any kind of a role. Start understanding and learning about digital skills, digital workflow. The future world is going to be completely different. So if you have not taken up anything, talk with peers, people from the industry, and start looking at what you can do to upgrade yourself in terms of skills. If you are in touch, if you still have a job, talk to your peers, superiors, bosses, and ask for wider roles. Start volunteering for jobs which are beyond your typical roles. Future jobs are going to be really multitasking, and companies would welcome people who has got wider skills, because that's what typically will be the need of the hour. Explore part-time work. Very, very critical. It's important to have an alternate source of income, because as I was saying, there was a lot of sectors which are getting affected. Even if you may have a job right now, you never know what's going to happen. So look at alternative things like coaching, training. It's very, very important. If you have non-productive family members, your spouse, your parents who are not working, or you have kids which are eligible for work, get them into some economic activity. It's important. Everyone needs to find out ways for earning and explore. It's a great opportunity to explore home businesses like affiliate or network marketing. In fact, this is what I'm going to spend a little bit of time, because this is one thing which almost anyone can enter into it. You need no special skills, and it's an amazing opportunity for doing part-time work, even if you have a full-time job, to secure some earnings for yourself and for the future. So let me give you a quick introduction. What's network marketing? If you see all these logos, what it typically reminds of anyone in the first time, that these are companies, or these are brands, or these are businesses which are operating through outlets. You have McDonald's outlets, you have Indian Oil petrol pumps, you have Bata showrooms. So one of the things that what you will know about these companies, if you already do not know as of now, all these companies started off with one outlet 30, 40, 50 years back. Right? Or maybe, for cases of some new ones like Oyo's and all, or Reliance Fresh, maybe just a couple of years back. The owners visualized a business model, start off with one network, one outlet, and then started creating, other outlets. Most of these outlets, whether they were company owned, company operated, or they were franchise outlets. And today, the fortunes of these companies, several of these are Fortune 500 companies, they could actually become successful by its ability to duplicate its learnings in one or in its first one or two outlets, and then creating a business model and then spreading it out to others. So when it spreads out, what happens, it transfers duplicatable skills in terms of knowledge, experience, marketing, training, operations to the new outlet, whether it's company owned or franchise owned, and are able to generate money. And then that's how they started creating fortunes. So this is very important to understand in the context of network marketing. So when you look at network marketing, these are some of the famous quotes. If you start from the one at the extreme left on the top from Robert Kiyosaki, who is one of the most original thinkers and has been a great advocate of network marketing. He has very famously said that the richest people in the world look for and build networks while everyone else looks for a job. Right? It's a very powerful statement, and as you will see later on, you'll come to realize it. Network industry, it's nearly 100 years old industry. Right? It's a multi-billion-dollar industry across different products and services, and it's come of age. And though a lot of people, especially in markets like India, have a very wrong perception of what network marketing is all about. People who are approached by any other network marketer thinks, they shy away in saying that, hey, this guy is good for nothing. He doesn't have a job. That's why he's taking it. But if you really see some of the, most successful people in the industry, especially when you look at millionaires under 30, I think 6 of the top 30 or 40 are from the network marketing industry. It's amazing. This is one industry where anyone can walk in with irrespective of any skills, and through a process of learning and knowledge sharing, which is part and parcel of this business, can become so successful in a couple of years that they not only become financially independent, but they are able to uplift a lot of people. It's an amazing industry, right? And it's also important for people to realize that a lot of people actually take up this business or this profession and give it up because they don't want to give them time. They want immediate returns, and these are the same types of people who typically think that it's 3-4 years in the success of a business is it's a long time, while they themselves have been slogging their ass out for 30-40 years and still living from paycheck to paycheck. I think that's something which needs to be realized. So let's understand, this is the famous I would call study, which, or not study, I would say algorithm or formula that Robert Kiyosaki became famous, which is the 4 types of people. So he said there were 4 types of people, and it is called the ESBI principle. So if you look on the extreme top left quadrant, you have employees, right? On the left quadrant, you have people who are salaried or self-employed. So it's like, they trade time for money. It's one person. They are putting 100% of my time, and whatever the amount of time that they are able to put, that's the kind of money that they get, right? So it's, your job, is the income. There's absolutely no leverage that you can take out of it. Maybe someone can say that you have a team and, you're able to deliver it. But usually that's not the case, because it's about yourself, right? So if you, for some reason, are indisposed, or you are not able to carry out your activities, you don't earn. right? So that's basically you're trading time for money, right? There's absolutely no, it's individual effort. It's all about active limited income. So if you come on the right hand side, on the top right, you have a businessman. So what does a businessman does? So businessman owns a system, develops a system, owns a system, and make people work for him. So, it's basically he ensures that he gets one person out of 100 people and gets his earning, right? So it is, first of all, it's a team effort. It's passive. So even if he doesn't work, his people will work for him and he earns, right? So you are able to leverage activities for others. In fact, there was a great saying by Steve Jobs who says that if you make a smart people and you employ them and learn how you can make money by utilizing them, right? And on the other hand, you say that if you're smart people, instead of making money for others, start making money for yourself. So that's the key part of it, of a businessman. And when you take it to the extreme part, on the top, on the bottom right, is you get an investor. The investor is essentially going beyond leverage. He makes his money work for himself, and it's independent of whether he is present or not in the business. Unlike a businessman where he needs to spend some time on a regular basis, here he is able to generate passive income, and it's almost unlimited in terms of. So if you're trying to put this model into you, obviously you will think, what is the best way? Obviously it seems employment and self-employment is not something which is the best part, because you're not able to leverage upon anything, and it all depends on your activity to make money. So obvious way is to move to the right hand quadrant and become a businessman, and then move into stage where you are able to generate money, put money into the business, and start earning passive income. So this is something which is the part and philosophy of a great book written by Robert Kiyosaki, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I fully encourage you to read it. There are some wonderful extracts that you can see in YouTube, or but I would suggest take the book out. It's awesome in terms of the messaging that you get in this particular book. So if this business is what it's all about, isn't traditional business a bit risky? You need to invest in land, labor, capital. There's a lot of risk involved. There's a lot of money that you need to put, right? You need to have, and again, timing is critical when you want. For example, if you're in the business of providing, let's say, health, hygiene products or personal protection equipment, this is the great time, but then again, it's something which needs to be understood, that you need to be in the right time in the right part of the business. You need a lot of skills, in terms of, vision and ability to manage people. So it's not something which is a cup of tea for anyone. But then the answer is network marketing. It's TT, trade with technology. It's something where you don't have employees. It's something that you can start, straight away from home. Very limited, capital that is required to start this business. It's flexible. You can work while you are having a full-time job, and it's amazingly high income potential if you're able to put this into practice. And one big thing is that it's a recession-proof income source, right? This is something which is the need of the hour for everyone, and it's something that what can be considered by a lot of you. Why network marketing? Because it's an established industry for nearly 100 years. And as I told, it's a very easy entry. Anyone can, we have seen housewives, students, jail convicts who have, all kind of people who have gone into it. And we have some exceptionally talented people who has created institutions out of themselves by, earning their fortune out of this network marketing. And one of the key things at this particular period of time, that it allows you to work part-time. If you get trained properly under the right, coach, or with the right company, and if it's properly associated with that, you're able to develop, key processes. It's typically in the industry, it's called DMO, daily method of operation, by virtue of which you're able to spend 15, 20 minutes in 3 or 4 batches every day and do a few set of activity which allows you to continue doing this business, right? And it's perhaps the only industry which has created amazing models of success out of widest range of people in the society. Right? So this is the key reason as to why this has been, or I would say it's a very viable opportunity for all of us. If you really look into it, it's almost like a $200 billion industry. Almost like 100 million people worldwide works on it. So it's a huge industry. In India itself, it's about 7,500 crore, right? And is expected to go to about 60,000 crores in the next, 10 years. It's going to be a phenomenal industry, and it's this particular pandemic has been like a catalyst to this industry, and we are seeing unprecedented interest and enrollment of people from various walks of life. And the best part about this industry that it's a recession proof. Anyone can get into it. It's a never dying kind of an industry, and it can always be taken up, provided you go through the entire process of successful enrollment into becoming a successful network marketer, right? So, friends, opportunity always comes in the form of a disguise, right? Even if there's some unfortunate incidents like this, be sure that you capitalize on this opportunity. Look at the possibilities of getting into something like network marketing, because very clearly, don't just dream your life, live your dreams. So thank you very much, for your time. If you like the video, please like it and share it with your network. And more importantly, if you are keen to understand how you can enroll into network marketing, you're more than welcome to come and join my team. We will together ensure that we all go and live our dreams. Thank you and stay safe. Bye-bye.